Welcome back, Commanders. It is I, Architect, once again, and we are here again with Legend of the Stars qualifying tournament action. Well, we need to get a bit of a hurry up with all of these matches. The second qualifier has already been scheduled, and I'm only a quarter or so of the way through this. We are looking for some tight timings, I do suspect, to get all of the matches for this entire Legend of the Stars series done well before the end of the year. So for anyone who does not know, the uninitiated, this is Legend of the Stars, sponsored by a player named Legend of the Stars. He has put a $500 bounty up for the grand final, but this is just the qualifier. So what we're doing, we're running 4 qualifying tournaments. Each one of those is going to yield three or four guys who are going to head through to those grand finals. They are happening right at the very end of the year, and it is going to be a whole lot of very, very high level play. Right now though, this is the qualifiers. They are open to anyone, and if you want to get in on the action, you need to make sure you jump in and sign up for qualifiers 2, 3 or 4 so you can try and secure yourself a spot to win that grand prize. And there's also a nice fancy trophy that Legend of the Stars usually produces as well. So, that is Legend of the Stars. This game is going to be Blast Shield versus Platinumizer. Let's just have a quick look at our draw. So far, we have covered off round 1. We got one match, I do believe, so far. UD versus Morax, that was casted last time. So we're going to move on down to Platinumizer versus Blast Shield. So, without any further ado, let's head over to the game and see how these guys are going to get on. And we are away. Let's unpause that beast and go and check out how our players' initial build orders are going to be playing out. So we have down in the bottom left corner here, we have got Platinumizer. He of course is running the correct name for his account. He is going to play Seraphim this time around. That's an interesting play on this map, but we'll forgive him for it. So he's going to throw down that first land factory. We can see there's a whole lot of orders already issued, and there is a second air actually planned for him, but not a heck of a lot of power generators to be doing that. So we'll see a lot of reclaim from him, and perhaps we'll have a shuffle around of those build orders to try and get a wee bit more power up and running by the time he needs that air factory. His opponent up in the top right corner going UEF. This is, well, Spatula Khan, but we know him better as Blast Shield. He's going to play UEF this time around. We can see a pretty identical build there, but I think there is one extra power gen, so he's going to be relying a little bit more on generated power and not so much on reclaim. We can see the first NG out there almost down to the forest, and it is on attack move to scoop up all of those trees and form as much reclaim into the buffer there for him as possible. We can see that second air factory is planned. He is going on an interesting adjacency here with half of a mix adjacency. I'm not sure that is quite what he planned, but well, actually no, we've got the adjacency on this mix and another half just for a bonus. Still not a heck of a lot of power gen, so he will be needing to scoop up as much of that reclaim, and the problem with that is that he doesn't have any extra build power early on. We can see all of these engineers, they are just scooping up trees, but he is sacrificing that build power so that he does not have to use it on Tech 1P gens just at the start there. We do have a Selen out for Platinumizer. That is probably better served by moving up to the front line, trying to use the radar on that thing to catch some intel, but it looks like he may have forgotten about it, or it may be waiting for something to escort, perhaps even this FAM down here. But no, it's just going to sit still, so I'm not quite sure what the point of building those Selens is, but we'll see if he actions those anytime soon. Nicely moving up the attack moves on those engineers to keep that energy flowing in. Well, it's actually not too badly balanced. He's got just about a full buffer. He is very well sorted for power right now. Platinumizer on the other hand, if we look up at the scoreboard, is quickly running out of power, and he's going to have to curb some of that expenditure or get a whole lot more power in his base, and you can see that's what he's doing, but just a single engineer on that, so it will take some time to be able to get those. He probably wants some assistance on that, get his power situation under control. He is actually stalling now. That is a big no-no. That is going to cost him severely in terms of getting his eco up and running. Of course, when you stall power, your mass extractors stop working as well because they need electricity. So he is now just managing to get that under control, sort of, with a plus 59 that we can see up there in the scoreboard. That will start to refill his energy storage, but a scout zooms overhead. There is an interceptor already out for Platinumizer, but completely missing that and giving full intel view there to Blast Shield, who will get a good look at what's happening in the base. He will see an almost identical starting build, but since then they've diverged just a little with another land factory in here starting to spew out tanks. Well, I'm just trying to figure out what the strategy is going to be with this. We can see there is a single engineer going out this way. He does have a fairly large build queue planned for him. We can see all of those mixes plus radar plus land factory plus point defense. That is quite a tall order, especially when there is just a single striker on defense and not even any radar to boot. That makes him very vulnerable if there was to be something coming up this way. In fact, a Selene like this, which is currently trying to block a mix, that Selene could potentially get in there and ping away at the engineer before the tank manages to react, and he could actually get a kill. That would be a bit of fantastic micro there from Platinumizer if he could pull it off. But what he's doing right now is just leaving the Selene on this mass point, hoping that the cloaked and stealth of that thing is going to confuse an engineer when it comes around from Blast Shield. But that does suggest to me that he is not looking at expanding up that way anytime soon. Often we would see a drop up to that top left expansion, but I would suggest he's not intending to go that way if he is already playing defensively and trying to block those NGs. Alright, we have a bit of an engagement over here. A striker taking on a Tham. Down goes the scout. These guys pretty much neck and neck for hit points, but they are diverging. And it looks like the idea might be here for Blast Shield to get in behind and cause some damage in the engineers, but there is another Tham waiting for him, so that is not going to be a particularly successful run. Both of these commanders, following the established meta, moving up to this position here. They went for a walk across the water there, all the way from that starting position, and they are now claiming these bases. And we can see the exact mirror down here happening for Platinumizer, grabbing all of those mixes and trying to increase their economy. Speaking of economies, Spatula Khan, we can see up there with 33 mass versus 25 income for Platinumizer. So Platinumizer just falling behind a little there, and he will need to try and get a good grip on that, and that's only going to widen now that we can see the extra NG up here, which is going to successfully capture all of those mixes purely because there is absolutely nothing pushing up from Platinumizer. Well, not absolutely nothing. There are two Thams. They will just fail to take out that engineer before it gets the point defense online. On it comes, and it quickly deals to those. It won't deal with that Selene though because it is cloaked and stealth, but still that won't last too long, especially without any wall structures to rely on. We can see there is a couple of Thams rolling up in the distance, and they are going to smash their way through the trees, and there we go, we have an engagement on that point defense. But it looks like Platinumizer not realizing the active PD and just throwing his tank straight into it, which is not always a winning move. Down this way, an edge build gets a factory online to produce engineers down here for Platinumizer, so he's going to start grabbing those for mass expansion points, but he is still well behind Blast Shield there. I keep getting the name wrong because it's Spatula Khan. Okay, we've got quite a decent number of units rolling up this way, and we have got a mobile artillery in the Zooey dispatched to try to deal with that point defense. The extra range on that thing will be able to smash its way through the PD, and there is not a lot of backup here for Blast Shield. He's got a few strikers down here. They are being built out of these two factories this way, but that is probably not going to be enough to maintain the position in the short term. Over on the left here, a scout overhead will give him intel on what's coming his way, but without any extra engineers or tanks, he is going to lose that position to the steady stream of yellow units that are rolling up this way. He's going to move to try and intercept, but just the 3 strikers, they're going to be massively outclassed by an entire stream. Well, the stream is actually drying up a little, and they will be waiting on these reinforcements back here. But what is this? A cheeky bomber. Very nice to see. Blast Shield did manage to get a reasonable hold on air control just before forcing an air engagement and coming out on top. We can see the squadron of blue interceptors over here. That means that he does secure air control enough to be able to make use of those Tech 1 bombers. Those guys going to come and cause a pile of havoc, because so far there is nothing to answer those. And that does mean that Platinumizer may be forced to start producing Tech 1 mobile AA if he is going to be able to deal with those, because it is going to be a big challenge to be able to take back air control from this position. Although it is only half a dozen interceptors, if he was able to get a very exceptional bit of micro, he could do it with a few interceptors. But I'm not sure that is going to happen. We can see that this is now under threat. Wow, this engineer doing a fantastic job of getting that building completed, and it actually completes. It does go down moments after, but still a very nice victory there in terms of getting that PD up, and that will block the raid coming through from Platinumizer, and that is very, very nice to see. He has managed to successfully save the expansion, but Blast will need to get some more reinforcements out that way to be able to continue building. Right now, though, he's focusing on sending units down towards the main base of Platinumizer. He will have to force his way through all the units being produced from these factories, but if he can get in and cause a bit of damage to those Tech 1 power gens, that will definitely slow Platinumizer down. Although right now we can see he is mostly short on mass. But what is this? A big drain. He is probably on upgrade. Let's quickly find his ACU. No, there is no upgrade there. He is just massive deficit, which is no good at all. He probably needs to get that under more control. What is causing that power drain? We've got a Tech 2 factory online. That is where all of that energy is going. And wow, that is an interesting move, especially since he does not currently have air control, and there's no Tech 2 fighters for the Seraphim that is going to help him wrestle that back, so he will have to rely on the brute force production of T1 fighters to be able to make a difference. The ACU coming up for Platinumizer, thinking twice about it because there are a bunch of tanks and a PD guarding this position. Not something he really wants to take on with his ACU. I'm sure he would come out on top, but it would cost him an awful lot of HP and leave him quite vulnerable, especially for a commander versus commander engagement. And what have we got? There's actually a T2 upgrade going on down here for Blast Shield, so pretty soon he's going to have a few more HP on that ACU, and he is also going to be able to pop out a few more powerful defenses. And if he was to get some triads on, that's going to be a big no-go zone for that Seraphim ACU. Meanwhile, we've got a good smattering of blue tanks rolling in. Those strikers making fairly short work of a couple of Thams and a Zooey that are on guard duty, and there's not a heck of a lot else, but there is a PD. So if he brought some artillery with him, let's just have a quick check. There we go, Lobo, check it off the list, and he will be able to push through into that PD with a bit of time. So hopefully we'll see now a move there from the... No, we're not seeing any move. They're just going to be content with sitting back and peppering away at the factories, trying to do as much as they can and making a mess of the units that are trying to be built in that factory as well. And that is going to slow down Platinumizer's push in the middle. Meanwhile, Platinumizer still trying to make his way up the left here, and that is the end of that. Okay, well, that was unexpected and fast. And that is the end of that. So that is a win to Blast Shield without doing a heck of a lot. And that's going to push him through into the next round. Alright, so there we have Blast Shield managing to pull it out, even though he's got a ridiculous name. That is going to be moving forward into the next bracket. So, this is a double elimination competition, so Platinumizer, still one more chance. If he loses down in the bottom bracket, he will be out, however. But for now, Blast Shield moving forward And that is the end of this match. Let's carry on to the next one.